and sick witch hunt against Army, says MP accused over his own time in Ulster. Sir Mike Penning, who was accused maliciously of beating up a civilian during the Troubles, backs an effective amnesty against prosecution in some historic cases. And he condemned the assault claim against him, and others like it, as sick. He said that in his case his innocence had been easy to prove because he was not even in the city in question at the time. But he said other veterans would not be so lucky, nor have the support team he had, to prove their innocence. Sir Mike's accuser had claimed that he attacked innocent people while on patrol in Belfast. But although he spent time in Northern Ireland while he was in the army, he never served in Belfast. His own experience, he said, showed that false accusations were more common than was often recognized. Sir Mike, 60, even predicted it would happen the day David Cameron appointed him a Northern Ireland minister, and was proved correct just weeks later. The ex-Armed Forces minister said, "When the Prime Minister appointed me a Minister of State in Northern Ireland, I raised with him that I had served out there as a soldier in the 1970s and 80s, and that it was highly predictable that I would be accused of something by those who opposed the military being in Northern Ireland." So a couple of weeks after I arrived, a press officer came scampering in and said that a newspaper was going to run a story saying that I had been involved in violent acts against people in Belfast in my time as a soldier. And I politely told the press officer to go back with a quote saying that I was more than happy to go to Barbados for the next 10 years with the money I would get from suing them, on the basis I had never served in Belfast. Sir Mike, who is MP for Hemel Hempstead, added, "I am infuriated as someone who lost close friends in Northern Ireland. Having false allegations made against us is not only reprehensible but it is sick. How on earth all these years later someone allegedly remembers me, who did not even make corporal, in Belfast? And they had not even done their homework. It was public knowledge where I had served. For me, I had good backup, like the press officers, and good support. But for guys that have been retired and perhaps want to put memories of what they saw and what went on out there behind them, and a lot of them have post-traumatic stress as well, this will tip them back over the edge. Perhaps their loved ones do not even know they served. A lot of guys who served, particularly in combat, don't want to talk about it, don't want to go back over it again." Sir Mike said the assault allegation was eminently predictable. "The only thing that surprised me is it took 2 weeks." He said that it was fundamentally wrong that cases which had already been investigated all those years ago were being reopened. Sir Mike said that his case was quite trivial and quite funny, that they were that pathetic and amateur. But the MP stressed that for others who had been the subjects of terrible accusations, we need to put that behind them, and to me, the statute of limitations would be a good example of how we do it. He described the Good Friday Agreement and the peace in Northern Ireland as peace but not as the rest of the UK would understand it to be: pipe bombs thrown at the police on a regular basis, prison officers murdered on their way home from work, peace but not peace as we would want it to be. He added, to then have all this raked over again while terrorists have done 2 years, in prison, and walk away. I think it is sick. On Friday, angry veterans staged a silent protest outside Parliament in support of a Tory MP's bill that would introduce a statute of limitations on historic prosecutions. Members of the Commons Defence Committee have also written to Northern Ireland Secretary Karen Bradley, telling her that they support the idea in conjunction with the Truth and Reconciliation process. The letter says MPs were disappointed and frankly surprised that the proposal was omitted from a consultation on the future of Northern Ireland published last week, and told Ms Bradley that it was not too late to act. The omission of the time limit sparked a cabinet split and accusations of a witch hunt. The idea has been opposed by political parties in Northern Ireland, including Sinn Féin, and there have also been fears that terrorists could benefit from an effective amnesty if one was introduced for armed forces members. Some Democratic Unionist Party MPs have called for a statute of limitations to be applied to veterans of all conflicts, including Iraq and Afghanistan.